Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Welcome home, family, and join us for the fun. Colorful guests, people everywhere under the sun. Interesting conversations. Prayers first has begun. Invocation, manifestation, conversation, then will come. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Let's start drinking some water, juice or tea. King Killer's recommended for you and me. Guayusa mixed together, maple syrup or honey. Magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, crystals, pyramids. Learn from the healers, the artists, the seers, authors and teachers, dissolving your fears. Workshops of wisdom, the circle is wide. Plant medicine whispers, the planets align. All magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids. Oh, magnets, crystals, pyramids.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Moorish Monday with Abdullah Il Talib Mosi Bey on Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids YouTube and Moroccan Post Media YouTube. Welcome. Have a wonderful back for the second time. It's been about a year. All right. And it's good to have this brother back on Moorish Monday. I'm excited. For those who are joining us for the first time, let people know that we're live and get your opportunity to get a chance to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. All right. Also, across the stream is my website, mooresandmasonry.org. Those who are interested in getting any of my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Our Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology, Vocabulary Summit You Won, the Masonic Compass Square, the Connection, the Management, Timekeeping. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. Once again, back for the second time. You were on October of last year for the first time, right? I believe Shemil. So
Absolutely.
we have here, once again, Brother Shemil. He'll be presenting the divine warning by the prophet to the nations, a deeper look. All right. Give us tell what have you been doing over this past year, brother?
Well, first I want to say Islam to all the Moors. Thank you, Brother Abdullah Bey, for having me, inviting me once again. I've been busy working. I've been working on a lot of things pertaining to my temple here in Durham, North Carolina. Doing a lot of research and just continuing the work of uplifting fallen humanity. That's pretty
Awesome.
much been it. So I'm excited to give this presentation to your audience, and I hope everyone will enjoy and get something from it.
Absolutely. All right. So you have your screen. We'll just share the screen, get started.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and do that.
Welcome everyone. Thank y'all for joining us.
Indeed. So I will be giving a PowerPoint presentation, but before I do so, I want to take the time out to actually go over the actual article. This is an article entitled "A Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nations," And I want to go ahead and read it in its entirety, because this is a particular writing, a piece of Moorish literature that many Moors may be familiar with. Many Moors have heard certain terms used from this particular article, but I want to take the time out to really do a deep dive into it, read it in its entirety, so we can get a greater comprehension of the literature that was put out by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And also like to give just a disclaimer: this breakdown that I will be giving, I do not claim for it to be the exclusive or official commentary on this particular piece of literature. I'm just giving my measure of understanding as a result of my study, my research, and being taught by my teachers. I want to take time out to give honors to my grand governor, Robert Stonell, of Durham, North Carolina, as well as the late Jerome Graham Bay of Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm. I knew him.
Yes, sir. Who studied under Sheikh Timothy Dingle Ill. Many of you are aware of his writing, The Resurrection, Be Yourself and Not Somebody Else. So those are some of my teachers in this movement. And again, I'm just a humble student. So with that being said, I'm going to go first and do the reading. And just to give context, this is an editorial. I think that's important to start off by putting that fact out, that this was an editorial put out by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And an editorial is something that is put together by an editor-in-chief of a newspaper. In this particular case, it was the Moorish Guide that was put out there starting in the year 1928, during the years of 1928 and 1929, when Prophet Noble Drew Ali was in the physical form. He did put out many articles and different editorials. This one is one of the most famous ones that we know of, so I'll take the time to read this. So it says, a divine warning by the Prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. It is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling all true citizens that stand for a free national government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national government, by the free national constitution, to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true life into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to enforce upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there. And it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light from the prophet. So I want to stop there. That is the conclusion of that particular editorial. Again, I want to emphasize the fact that an editorial, any editorial, is something where the editor-in-chief of that newspaper gives their viewpoint and is addressing a certain group of people. And I just want to make that point clear in regards to that, because the reason being is that this particular article, I've noticed in my during my time in the movement, I've heard this broken down from a context or a perspective as if Prophet Noble Drew Ali is speaking directly to the Moors. This is a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. When you read it out loud, you understand that he is speaking to one, he's speaking to multiple nations. And in the nations, he keeps saying, my people, I need your support to help my people. So if we recognize that his people are the Moors, then this divine warning and this conversation he is having is to someone or groups of people who are not considered his people. And I just want to put that in context. Not that we can't take from this and learn from this, because obviously there are key things in here that we are supposed to recognize and apply. But I just want to make it clear the audience that Noble Drew Ali was addressing, and which is also speaking to the fact that the Moorish Guide was not just to Moorish Americans, just to Moors or members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He put this out for a wider audience, and he would make that known through things like this particular divine warning. So with that, I'm going to take us to, again, the PowerPoint presentation for the day. And I'll go ahead and start from the beginning. Give me one moment. And I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Let me go ahead and start from the beginning. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations, a deeper look, exploring historical and cultural influence on identity. So here are some of the agenda items we will cover. We will cover the historical context of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's divine warning. We'll explore some theological and political foundations of the editorial. We'll do an analysis of this particular editorial. And we'll also go into some of the social and political influence of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's message. So here you see the picture, one of the pictures of the first annual convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago, Illinois, which took place in Unity Hall, 3140 Indiana Avenue. And that was in the dates of October 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th of 1928. And you see in the center, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder. Some of the things I just want to point out in this particular picture, it says up top, 7 p.m. to midnight, welcome address by Honorable Louis B. Anderson, Alderman of 2nd Ward. And then it has Honorable Daniel M. Jackson, Committeeman of 2nd Ward and Illinois Commerce Commissioner. Jesse Binger, President of the Binger State Bank. Honorable Oscar DePriest, Republican candidate for Congress. And we know he eventually became a congressman due to the efforts of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and we can get into that as well. He made history as the first so-called African-American to go into Congress since the Reconstruction period. So that's again, this is during the time before the Civil Rights Movement, and we're going to get into that as well. And so it also goes Robert R. Jackson, Alderman of 3rd Ward, Honorable George W. Blackwell, State Representative of Illinois Legislature, and Richard M. Ross, Master of Ceremonies. So this just gives some historical context. We're going to dive in further. So remember, I mentioned in the article about Jim Crowism. So we're going to discuss in a little briefly on the Jim Crow era and disenfranchisement of our people. And many of us, some of us who are older, have lived through that era. Those of us who have not lived through that era were made aware of it through documentaries and movies, etc. But that deals with a systematic segregation where Jim Crow laws enforce racial segregation, restricting denationalized Moors' access to public facilities and services. It was a denial of human rights, where denationalized Moors were systematically denied human rights and equal protection under the law during this era. And of course, there were movements that came out with the intent to empower the people. Struggles during the Jim Crow era inspired movements focused on empowerment and cultural identity. The most famous ones are the Civil Rights Movement. Also, many of us are aware of what they classify as the Black Muslim movement under Elijah Muhammad, who was the leader of the Nation of Islam at that time. His most famous representative being Malcolm X at that time. But before all of this, before that even existed, there was Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So continuing on, the rise of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We know that the Moorish Science Temple of America was founded in the year 1913 in Newark, New Jersey by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and then he relocated his headquarters to Chicago, Illinois, because the laws there were more suitable. Foundation and founder, Prophet Noble Drew Ali founded the Moorish Science Temple of America for the uplifting of fallen humanity. We have the Moorish ancestry connection. The Moorish Science Temple of America connected us to our Moorish ancestry as a source of pride and historical identity, because prior to that, we did not have a connection to a nation of people. We were given terms that allude to slavery, Negro, Black, colored, etc. And so the Moorish Science Temple of America told you that you were not Negroes. You're not Negro, Black, and colored. You're not these things that do not tie you to a nation. And then, of course, it also incorporated the Islamic principles. Islamic teachings and principles provide a spiritual framework for the temple's members. And it's very important that Prophet Noble Drew Ali framed it in the context of saying that this was, the Creed of Islam was founded by our forefathers for our divine and earthly salvation. So the role of the Moorish Guide newspaper, as I mentioned before, the article, A Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nations, was an editorial of the Moorish Guide newspaper. So here we see a picture of, this is actually the front of the very first edition, volume 1, number 1 of the Moorish Guide. And this was in Friday, August 24th of 1928. And so here you see one of the writings is Moorish Leaders, Historical Message to America. Another editorial, also very well known. And it also speaks about the organization's growth, enormous temples and principal cities. It goes on, it speaks about the trips of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, his travels throughout the country, and various other things. But in reference to the role of the Moorish Guide newspaper, it was a primary communication medium. So the Moorish Guide was the main platform for Prophet Noble Drew Ali to share his teachings with the Asiatic community, right? I want to put that in context, and again, and not just to the Asiatic community, not just to those sympathizers. It was put out to the public, right? So I want to, and that's where the particular editorial plays an important role, because he said this was a warning, a divine warning by the prophet to the nation. So it wasn't just Asiatics, it was all those who had a nationality. He was addressing those in the context to let them know that we are a people that are working to get back our nationality and our birthrights. So also a key editorial, divine warning by the prophet for the nations inspired collective awareness and awakening among Moorish Americans. So theological and political foundations of the divine warning. And of course, we have the foundational scripture of the Moorish Science Temple of America, known as the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, where it says underneath, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. And this is also affectionately referred to as the seventh circle seven. It's important that also we recognize that the Moorish Science Temple of America was originally incorporated as a civic organization. The incorporation was in November of 1926. And then in 1928, it was incorporated as a religious organization because Prophet Noble Drew Ali explained that the work he found to be that needed to be done was largely religious. And also having a religious organization allowed the freedom for the people, as the nation of people, the Moors, to operate under religious freedom. And he spoke about that the doors of religious freedom swing wide open. So many things that he was able to establish and set at that time, which still stand today, was because he was able to operate under religious freedom. So the Moorish Science Temple of America's areas of focus. Again, this is just 3 points. There are many we can speak on, but I'm just pointing out 3. One is self-knowledge, which emphasizes understanding one's identity and history as a foundation for personal and communal empowerment, meaning that it says in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, know thyself and Allah. So this aspect of us knowing thyself, as it said in the walls of Kemet, man, know thyself. This is a very important aspect. The foundation of us even living life to the fullest is based on us knowing ourselves, learning about ourselves, right? You always hear Moore say, study, 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 right? In the Holy Quran of Moorish Science Temple of America, it says, if you were to ask me what to study, I would reply yourselves. And we recognize that to be a study of our higher self and our lower self, to know what's true and know what's false. Next, that leads to the next one, spirituality. Focus on spiritual growth and connection to higher consciousness as a path to freedom, right? Again, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was originally the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, because remember, before it was called the Moorish Science Temple of America, the organization was called the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Still the same temple. He just changed it to suit certain purposes. And with that said, he recognized that we needed a spiritual base, that once we're a spiritual people, as is. We as melanated people are very spiritual, right? The proof is this very YouTube channel, right? This is a YouTube channel that deals a lot with spirituality, different aspects, crystals, meditation, all different modalities connecting with our higher consciousness. So he recognized that we needed that. And he said, and again, this aspect, that's why it's called a Moorish divine and national movement, right? You had a divine side dealing, divine meaning related with God, something that aspect of spirituality, but also a national aspect, which dealt with the nationality and getting back to the principles of our ancestors, of our ancient forefathers, which leads to reclaiming heritage, encourages Moorish Science Temple of America encourages reclaiming Moorish heritage to restore cultural pride and overcome historical oppression. Again, honest to my brother Abdullah Bey, who speaks, he always emphasized when I hear him speak in terms of nationality, the cultural aspect of nationality. When you see every people that is having nationality, there is a cultural aspect that they implement, which is very important. So those are just 3 points. So now the concept of national identity as Moorish Americans, right? In the Moorish questionnaire, also known as the Quran questions for Moorish Americans, the question is asked, what is your nationality? The answer is Moorish Americans. And the follow-up question is, why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So this is a reframing of identity. So this is taking us, promoting identity beyond the race construct, emphasizing heritage and cultural roots for Moorish Americans. And again, those of you who have been tuning in to Moorish Mondays, you've heard Brother Abdullah Bey break down how this race construct was created, who created it, the whole concept of white and black, which has nothing to do with your lineage, your DNA, has nothing to do with nationality at all. So, and again, nationhood, right? So this established Moorish Americans as a distinct people with divine rights, nation with divine rights, and potential to create a nation of their own. So this leads us to an analysis of a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. So we'll go into Noble Drew Ali's interpretation of constitutional rights. And we're going to dive in. And again, I'm giving my measure of understanding on this. And this is open for conversation, questions, as well as constructive criticism, because this record here existed long before I came. And so I'm speaking about a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. So we recognize that many people will see aspects of it, and I'm going to give my measure of understanding on it. So there is the aspect of the inherent constitutional rights. So Moorish Americans who proclaim their nationality hold divine rights, not granted privilege, as emphasized in the editorial, right? So we read the section where he spoke about the ability for us, through proclaiming our free national name and religion, to be able to reclaim our divine rights and not be subject to granted privileges. One of those granted privileges is the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act has to be voted on every 25 years, right? So if it's a civil rights, if it has to be voted on every 25 years, then it's not a birthright. It's not an inherent right. It's a granted privilege. It's something that can be taken away. If this is something, as they say, unalienable rights, right, that it can't be taken away or abused, then there would be no need to try to have to vote on it every 25 years. So that lets you know about the flaw within that act, within even though it was well-intentioned by our people, the flaw within the approach for us to try to reclaim what was ours. So again, that goes back to reclaiming national identity. The call to proclaim free national names and religion is central to fully assessing birthrights. Why? One of the things many Moors know about this is that there's something called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And Article 15 states that every person has a right to a nationality. It doesn't say that every person has a right to a race or right to a color. It says every person has a right to a nationality. And so with having a nationality, what comes with a nation of people? A nation of people have names, right? You know almost distinctly when you hear a Chinese name or a Japanese name, right? Or an Italian name or a Greek name. It's inherited. There's a reason why Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave the names of Il and Bey to his members, because it's tying us back to our ancient forefathers. This is very important. Free national name and religion. So enforce the Constitution. And this is going to get a little controversial, because this particular term I've heard many times throughout my time in this movement. I've heard Moors say, Moors got to enforce the Constitution. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said enforce the Constitution, right? So let's explore this term, enforce the Constitution. The term enforce the Constitution is one that has been commonly used in the Moorish movement. And again, given my measure of understanding, it's a creation derived from a misunderstanding of a passage in the article that's taken out of context. I want to repeat. Its creation is derived from a misunderstanding of a passage in the article that's taken out of context. This term, enforce the Constitution. So let's dive in. Prophet Noble Drew Ali never explicitly used the term enforce the Constitution. We just read the article. The term enforce the Constitution, those words together does not exist in that article. So I'm going to read the actual quote. I am hereby calling all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from the true American citizens of the United States. The term stand for is used in this quote to mean support or advocate. Give you an example. If a person says that I stand for capital punishment, right? I stand for the death penalty. You know, and I know that that person is not going to death row and pulling the switch on the electric chair. They're not doing that. They're not injecting the lethal injection. They're not doing any of that. When they say that they stand for that, that means that they advocate that. If someone stand for abortion rights, then they advocate that. If they stand for right to life, then they advocate that. It doesn't mean that they're actually doing the thing that they're standing for. They just support it. So here in this context, it's saying that this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali saying he is calling all true citizens, right? In this aspect, again, I mentioned that this is a call out to people outside of the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is a call to people outside of what he called his people, because he kept saying, I'm calling you to help my people. So these true citizens that he's addressing, he said, these citizens that stand for a free national government, meaning they support a free national government and the enforcement of the Constitution. They advocate the enforcement of the Constitution. When we went to school, we understood there was three branches of government. There was the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. We understood that the legislative branch, they made the laws. The judicial branch adjudicated on the law. They passed rulings based on the law. And the executive branch of government enforced the law. So this enforcement of the Constitution is in context to the government that he's speaking of, not this idea that an individual Moor is enforcing the Constitution. It's not even the context in which he's addressing a whole nother group of people. And again, this is I welcome any debate on this, respectful debate on this. When we read it in the context of what it's speaking of, he's speaking to another group of people who is saying that you people who stand for this enforcement, I need you to help me in my work. So I wanted to give that aspect on it, or that point. I want to make that point. Another term that we have here is constitutional fold. This is another term that I've heard a lot of. The term constitutional fold is one that has been commonly used in the Moorish movement. Some have used the term constitutional fold of government. However, Prophet Noble Drew Ali never used that term. He never used the term constitutional fold of government. Now, there is constitutional fold, but constitutional fold of government was not used in that article. There's a popular phrase, which is come back to the fold. It refers to one returning to a participation of activity that was previously abandoned, right? So let's say, give an example. Let's say you got somebody, a group of guys, they used to hang out. They used to go to the, hit the bars or whatever. They used to just hang out, go to the games, whatever. And then one of the person out the group, they fell in love. They got a girlfriend, got engaged, and they stopped hanging out with the fellas. And then suddenly the guy and his girl broke up, and then he started coming back around. That would be him coming back to the fold. Oh, okay. Oh, now you're going to get back with us and we're going to go and hang out again. That is the context. So this is another quote from the article that speaks about the constitutional fold. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is speaking, I am depending on your, that is citizens, support to get them, which are the Moors, back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. From what was previously mentioned, one can logically conclude that the constitutional fold refers to the activity that involves supporting the Constitution, the participation in the activity that involves supporting the Constitution. In other words, in this case, it is done by Moors no longer claiming names that are unconstitutional. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali recognized that these names, Negro, Black, and Colored, were unconstitutional. Why were they unconstitutional? Because they didn't tie you in to the family of nations. And this was spoken about in the Dred Scott decision. That was the whole case. The whole case was, as was quoted, to quote Roger B. Taney, or to paraphrase Roger B. Taney, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. United States Supreme Court at the time was, is the Negro of the African race considered to be a citizen according to the Constitution, right? That's what it is. So the Negro is not even has, and then it went on to say in the decision that they had no aspect of nationality and are not recognized by the family of nations. And we all know in the Holy Quran and Moorish Science Temple of America, Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about us getting back to linking us back to the family of nations. So the linking us back to the family of nations, again, this is a divine warning by the prophet for the nations, is this aspect of us no longer claiming names that are unconstitutional. When we speak about this constitutional fold, we're speaking about us getting back and proclaiming our nationality in that aspect. So I wanted to give clarity on that. And then now, central thesis, nationality and free national name. Free national name, the importance of it. So proclaiming a free national name is crucial to affirm right political status, nationality and birthrights. Nationality enables access to legal protections and freedoms. We know that nationality determines political status according to law. And we recognize the denial of freedoms where Moors were historically denied their human rights without a free national name. So now we'll dive into prophetic language and rhetorical strategies. So this is just referring to the type of approach, the language that Prophet Noble Drew Ali used. He used the prophetic tone. He used the term warning, right? Divine rights. This prophetic tone of the article emphasized the urgency and moral authority to compel readers towards embracing identity and rights and embracing this idea of supporting, because he also said, if we follow the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, this country will be one of the greatest countries, paraphrasing, but if not, the worst is yet to come. So this is a prophetic tone that's used. And also the persuasive language is being used to motivate the commitment and inspire action among the audience effectively. He said, if the Italians, right, the Germans, etc., if they're forced to proclaim their free national name and religion, it's only right that others do so as well. So he's speaking to the common sense of the matter. So a call to action, and that call to action is proclaim your nationality. This is our call to action. When we read this particular article, this is the importance of it. It is important that we, those of us who have yet to proclaim our nationality, to proclaim our nationality. And it goes, as we just read in the article, as to why, we don't want to be subjected to the misuses and abuses that other citizens care to bestow. And we are seeing it right now in the climate today, specifically with situations with immigration, situations with the political climate, with the current president, right? It's important for us to proclaim, meaning make public, the fact that we are Moors. So reclaiming identity encourages individuals to embrace and assert their unique cultural and historical identity with pride and confidence. Nationality and birthrights focuses on understanding and asserting political status and associate legal and social rights for empowerment. Again, I emphasize nationality determines political status. And also the social and political transformation highlights the goal of transforming social and political status through active engagement and advocacy, right? So it's not just a matter of just getting a nationality card, saying you're more and having an ill in the bay. We have to be active within our society. There's an aspect of society moving as a collective, not as an individual, which will get us, which will transform us as a people. So social and political influence of Noble Drew Ali's message. And this is a famous picture. You see Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the upper center, and he has centered to the right of the picture, to his right, I should say to our right, his left is Jesse Binger. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not Jesse. I'm sorry, that's yeah, Oscar the Priest, and then Jesse Binger is on the other side. To just give that clarity. So on one side he has Oscar the Priest, that's the one with the bow tie, and then on the other side, on the side of him is Jesse Binger. For those who are not familiar with Jesse Binger, you can look him up. He was one of the wealthiest Asiatics in Chicago during that time. He had the Binger Bank, which was very influential and helped a lot of our people during that time because of the discrimination, we were not getting fair loans and being able to do banking. So he provided that for us, and he was very close. Both of these men were very close associates of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali wasn't just a religious leader. He was very involved in the workings of economics and politics as well, as you see here. And that was, sorry, let me go back. That was at the convention as well. So alternative approach to birthrights and freedom. So we'll dive into that. So you have the human rights and divine rights focus. Now we're contrasting this from the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement emphasized integration as the path to social equality. We all are familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King, the marches, Selma, Alabama, the boycott, Rosa Parks. We know the whole story. And the approach primarily was one of integration. However, the Moorish Divine National Movement focused on human rights and divine rights. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was very much focused on, he used the term worship under your own vine and fig tree in the Holy Quran and Moorish Science Temple of America, which can be viewed in a multitude of facets. He emphasized he talked about us having our own town, with our own mayor, being able to farm. He emphasized that every temple have at least 2 businesses. This is stuff that he actually printed for the record in these particular Moorish Guide newspapers. Of course, we had our Moorish Guide newspaper, so we had our own media, right? And I want to take the time out to give honors to our brother Cosmo Ill, who has the Moorish Times, and honors to the other temples as well who have their newspapers. I don't want to be dismissive, but all of those who are doing their part for us to make sure that our stories are being told. Honors to Moorish Mondays, which, again, this is a form of media offering the opportunity for Moors who are responsible to disseminate information to educate our people about nationality and birthrights. And of course, Noble Drew Ali's message, Prophet Noble Drew Ali promoted self-identification and religious freedom as key principles for true freedom and empowerment. So the impact on religious and political thought, of course, this is the very, very famous picture of the first convention, probably the most famous picture that we have of the Moorish Science Temple of America. As you see the sign up top, Moorish Science Temple of America, October 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, in the year 1928, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder. And you see him in the bottom center with all of the Moors. They're united. So we have the alternative religious identity, right? And the Moorish Science Temple of America provided Moorish Americans with a unique religious identity beyond mainstream Christianity. And I'm going to stop here and point this out. In the Quran question, Quran questions for Moorish Americans, the Moorish questionnaire, there's a question that's asked, what is our religion? The answer that's given is Islamism. He didn't say it was Islam. And that's by design. He made sure that this term was utilized unique to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, because he could have easily said Islam. But he said Islamism. And those of us who are members of the Moorish Science Temple of America know that our practice of the divine creed of Islam is unique. It's not like the what they call mainstream Islam, right? And this is not to speak radical or to be disrespectful of anybody's religion, but it is unique. Of course, the fact that we even say Prophet Noble Drew Ali is controversial in that, but it was a point, because we have to be distinct in how we present ourselves to the world for many reasons, right? And he was clear on that. He was very clear on that. So also political consciousness. The Moorish movement fostered political awareness, challenging racial narratives and promoting empowerment within Moorish American communities. So again, this political awareness, again, nationality determines political status. So when you have a nationality, right, and you can proclaim that nationality and say, look, I'm not with the black thing. No disrespect. I'm not that. I'm not that construct that you put me under. Because with that comes a whole lot of baggage. There comes laws with that. There comes Negro codes. There comes the history of the Christian Black codes, 1724.
Okay. You actually weren't there's no way you can ever be disrespectful, Shamil, by saying you're not with the black thing. That's no way you could ever be. There's no need to apologize, because you are doing a great humanitarian work. All right. There's no need to ever apologize for your statement by you're saying you're not with the black thing. All right. Because that is an act of subjugation, not by the United States has maintained the act of subjugation, means maintaining the stripping of our cultural identity. That is culture genocide, international law.
Yes.
It's not a constitutional violation. It's not a constitutional violation. It is an international law violation. A stripping a people of a foreign state, that's us. We're talking about a state doing it. It's United States. A state's doing it. Stripping a people of their cultural identity. That is subjugation.
Yes.
As we mentioned, as you said that I've spoken about, Francois Bonner in 1685 constructed the new division of the world in 1685, and had created 4 classes. Now, Carl Linnaeus in 1713 added black, white, red, and yellow to that existing framework. And in 1792, and Johann Friedrich Bumba added the 5th class, brown. So stripping us of our, that sets the stage of us stripping a people of their cultural identity. So there's no need to ever apologize for addressing the generations of the subjugation on behalf of the United States, maintaining the subjugation. The United States did not begin the stripping of our cultural identity as France and Spain and Code Noir, 1685, the French in the Caribbean. You got the Code Noir of 1724 and the Louisiana Territory. So you have the Asiento de Negro, where the Spanish classified as Negro. So the United States has maintained that act of stripping a people of their cultural identity and redefining and reclassifying us as black, Negro, colored. That is an international law. That is subjugation and culture genocide. So there's absolutely no need to ever apologize, because we are doing the humanitarian service of addressing the generations of subjugation of our people. I just want to address that. There's no need to ever apologize.
Agreed. You're right, brother. You're absolutely right. There's no need to apologize. And yeah, many times I speak to our brothers and sisters who are unconscious, and they're very sensitive. So I try to address that. But you're right. You're absolutely right. There's no need to apologize, because the truth is the truth, and the truth is that we have been subjugated. We've been stripped of our identity, and we're in a day and time now where we have to address it. We have to address it head on. You're absolutely right, and I appreciate you pointing that out. So with that, we're going to go into the legacy and relevance in this present time. Again, this is something that was started. This organization, the Moorish Temple of America, was founded in 1913. If we can just imagine the time frame of that, what was going on then, and when we reflect on what's going on now, just to imagine how it was back then, and the impact of a man stepping forth and challenging these things that we just spoke about. So, emphasis on heritage pride. So, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's principles inspire pride and cultural heritage among latter-day movements. We named some: Nation of Islam, which out of the Nation of Islam, then you had the 5 percenters. You've had other movements, even some within the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. There's continuation. You had, of course, Dr. Malachi Z. York, who started off with Ansar Allah community, which then became the Nuwaubian Nation, and now known as the Sabians. So all these different aspects, they all have to acknowledge the work that Prophet Noble Drew Ali did. And even Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave honors to Marcus Garvey, who was a contemporary at the time, and referred to Marcus Mosiah Garvey as the forerunner. So first come, first honor in that regard. So advocacy of human rights, and we just spoke about the human rights. Again, within the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 states that every person has a right to a nationality. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings continue to support advocacy of human rights within Asiatic communities. And then there's also the aspect of education for self-determination. So the legacy fuels movements to focus on self-determination and empowerment of marginalized communities, specifically our people. So there's have always been, at certain periods of times, a resurgence of our people striving to be self-determined, striving to have this, to know about themselves. And whenever you have these movements coming up, somewhere along in the conversation, Prophet Noble Drew Ali is going to come up. Nationality is going to come up. Even though certain organizations and certain movements may not want to dive into it or embrace it fully, because they recognize what that entails. Because this entails work. Taking this stand to proclaim your nationality and not subscribe to those terms that allude to slavery, that's a courageous step for anyone, and I salute anyone who does that. Because the thing to do, the comfortable thing that many people want to do is just go along to get along. And so that implies, I understand, but black this and black that. I've heard it too many times, and it's sad. So there has to be a constant education. Moorish Mondays and other platforms like this are needed to constantly educate and dive in to all the aspects as to why it's important for us to proclaim our nationality. So in conclusion, naming 3 points: identity reclamation, a divine warning by the prophet for the nations, advocates reclaiming Moorish American identity through the proclamation of nationality. Lawful empowerment. The article emphasizes lawful empowerment as a tool for justice and international recognition, and we spoke about that. And cultural renaissance. It inspires a cultural renaissance, fostering pride, unity, and revitalization within the Asiatic community. And with that, I appreciate that comes to the conclusion of the share, and I thank you for allowing me to share that. And again, I appreciate everyone's support. Just looking through, I'm looking at the comments, so I definitely appreciate the support and everybody tuning in.
But I'm on mute. I'm talking. All right, so all right, let me go back. Yeah, you got the questions. So yeah, so BD Islam Brother Shem, BD Bay. We have Rico. You see that? Rico.
Oh,
No, is that,
Leos, Rico Leos.
yeah, Rico Leos. All right, yes. You see that question? All right.
How do we enforce the Constitution to stop that? Islam. That's my brother Leos Bay.
All right.
Yeah. I know my brother. He's part of our temple here in Durham, North Carolina. Islam. So
It's Islam, brother. Speak your Moorish mind. Black is a fiction that cannot be respected nor disrespected. Yeah,
indeed.
yeah, absolutely. Because doesn't it strips us of our cultural identity and nationality.
Yes. Absolutely. Just looking at here.
You see, any questions, y'all type them in the chat. Sandra Austin, 1798, peace family, peace sister. Yeah,
Peace.
Samaria Bay, Islam, peace, light, and love. Brother Kenneth L. Bay, greetings to the Moorish Americans.
Islam. I did see a question here by Ricky Sanders Bay. He said, "Who is the lion and the lamb?" So, just to address that, in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, in chapter 46, if I remember correctly, it speaks to that particular term, lion and the lamb. The way he broke it down was that the lion represented the rich, the rulers and the rich, and the lamb represented the poor. So that is symbology and a parable to again, that also ties back to a statement in the Bible. But he used that to kind of just play into the fact that when we operate off of those principles, right, there's no conflict. So that's just kind of basically, in short, what that was referring to answer your question, brother. It's not.
Right. Islam, good. Bill, brother Abdullah, and Shem Il. That's your brother there, Nicholas Bay.
Islam, brother.
We have here Samaria Bay. Just typed in Greetings, all Moorish Americans on this channel. At this time, I want to know how we connect and collaborate on a bigger scale. What do you all suggest we do? What is your take on that, Shamil?
Well, my take is it starts here. It starts here. Again, honest to you for the work that you're doing with reaching out. We have to be able to network. One of the things that I've emphasized or I've strived to do my time in this movement was to network with Moors from various temples, regardless of the grand body, various Moors, even Moors who are not even in the temple. I want us to be able to deal with what we have in common and see what we can do to work. Like the sister was saying, collaborate. Things like this, setting up networks. If there's something that you have in your area or you want to set up an event, things like that, where you can invite. I'm an advocate for events where we can network. And it doesn't have to, we don't have to wait for somebody to give an order to do that for people to gather. Because at the end of the day, we're human beings. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in Philadelphia, I know I can call this brother and we can link up. And we, you know what I'm saying, and meet.
Yep.
If he's
Yep.
down in Durham, North Carolina, he can give me a call and we can link up. It's just that simple. We
I
don't
will, I will call you before I arrive
have,
and let you know I'm coming, and we're gonna link up.
That's it. And it's absolutely, and it's just brotherly thing. It ain't no checking in and none of that foolishness that they talk about. Is family connecting with family. When we recognize that we are of one, that link, that lineage, and we see each other as family, that eliminates a lot of barriers for us. We can always have differences of opinion. We can always do that. But one thing I always recognize is those principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We operate off of that and have a mutual respect for each other. We will get a lot more done. As the brother just said, we have much more in common than we don't worldwide. That's a fact. We have much more in common than we have difference. I agree.
Oh, yep. Any other questions? Type your questions in or comments. Type your questions in. Questions or comments. You see that there?
Yes, Islam. What would it take for us to build the first Moorish American town? I'm willing to donate 5 acres. Well, I'll say this. I would say this. If you're willing to donate land, and this is just a general conversation, you should be able to reach out with builders, not rappers. Yeah, exactly. It's you should be able to reach out. I'm going to say it for me. For me, if anyone wants to reach out to me, and again, I am a member of my temple, Moorish Temple of America, here in Durham, North Carolina. There are many other good brothers like Cosmo L, etc. Get with someone who you resonate with, Brother Abdullah Bey, anyone who you think you can have that communication with. Is for me, I'm easy to get in touch with. You can get in touch with me on Facebook. My email address is shem.l9@gmail.com. I have a YouTube channel as well. So I would definitely say it's a matter of getting, and we can have that conversation. I think that it's important. And just to speak to this point, again, I want to give honors to the brother Cosmo L because he's doing work in Hawaii with his sustainable community and things of that nature. I myself put out a book entitled Land of the Free, and it dealt with sustainable communities. I put that back out in like 2012 when I was first, it was on my mind to do that with the work I was doing back then. So there are more brothers and sisters who are thinking about actually building, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. So yeah, definitely connect with someone who you resonate with and want to have that conversation, and we can do the work.
Yeah, take my number 215-300-5471 and text me. That's 215-300-5471.
So,
I got a lot on my plate, man. A lot. But I got help. I do. I got help. Network's growing,
that's
but
great.
still a lot though, because I'm constantly curriculum developing. I'm teaching and teaching, preparing other teachers. I'm actually, I have, I'm teaching others to be teachers and writers and so forth. So,
Great.
um,
And that's needed. I'm glad you mentioned that. We need more authors. We definitely need more authors, more writers, to tell our story and to give our perspective on it.
curriculum developers, teachers. So I'm actually doing that. I have Masonic liaisons. I have, so I have an extensive network and outreach. Also that includes my, as you are been my guest for the second time. I have had close to 40 guest speakers on my Moorish Monday over the past 2 years. Next month I'll be posting my second. It would have been my second year anniversary. I'll be starting my second year anniversary on this platform in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Congrats, my brother. You're doing great work. Absolutely. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful thing to have this. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, we can think about it, we just do the work, but when we sit back and look at the whole big picture, we are creating that legacy. So honest to you for the work.
Yes, absolutely. So that person, I mean, who's that person again? To text, make sure you text me.
I think that's Nicholas Bay.
Well, that's your contact, right? Isn't that?
Nicholas
No.
Bay. My contact is Leos.
Leo's. All right. Nicholas Bay. All right, Nicholas Bay. Yeah, Nicholas Bay. Just reach out to me. I just want to get an idea of what where you are with it, and we'll see how viable it is. All right. Since there aren't any more questions or comments, I'll reach out. All right, right on. Islam brother Abdul, great, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely. No more questions or comments. All right. So you want to give your closing remarks? I don't see any other questions or comments. I'll wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was an honor to be here. I appreciate you having me on once again. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and with that being said, again, those who may be interested in reaching out to me, you can reach out to me on Facebook. And again, my email address is shem.l9@gmail.com, SHEM.EL, the number 9 @gmail.com. Then I say peace.
All right. So those, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Also share the recording. And once again, my website, mooresandmasonry.org, for those who are interested in getting my books, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, How Her Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology Vocabulary, Summit You-1, the Masonic Compass Square, the Connection to Measurement, Timekeeping. Go to mooresandmasonry.org. Also, that my books are being used too. I have those who are being using my books, to teach others. So writing is very important. You can go a long way in curriculum development, So once again, Brother Hank Uncle Hank, I thank you, brother. All right, it's been a great ride. 2 years approaching. 2 weeks. It will have been 2 years. All right, so I'll be moving into my 3rd year. I've had almost 40 guest speakers on this platform. Actually, I think I sent you the 2-page, 2 pages with the list of all the guest speakers. I have to add a 3rd page now because I've got 7 that have to be added to that list. So that'll be done this week. That 3rd page will be added, and I'll be posting that on my Facebook page with all 3 pages. I think because I've had to add Taj and Sister. I think I got Abundance Child already on there. I have to add Reggie Mitchell. There's I think 6 or 7 have to be added. Sister Nina Walmack has to be added, and they got Sister Salah. Sister Salah will be on the 29th of December. She'll be on the first time, so I'll add her. She actually studying a PhD. She's studying for a PhD in linguistics, and she studied under me. I've taught her etymology. I taught her linguistics for 3 years, and so she's actually taking it to the PhD level. She's studying, earning a PhD in linguistics. So I'm excited to have her on that'll be the 29th of December, I believe, that I'll have her on. And so I'm excited. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying, that my plate is full, but we have to pass it on, and the preparing of the teachers, those to be teachers, curriculum developers, have creating their own platforms and networking. So definitely, I'll be bringing you back, brother. I know next week I have brother Elkanan Bey. He's my Masonic liaison, and I think he'll be doing the presentation on Thanksgiving regarding that, dealing with the astronomy of it, the astronomical aspect that takes place during this time period. He did the presentation last year, so he'll be on next week, and then the week after that, Sears and I will be doing the part 2 of our Moorish Connection to Masonry series. So we have a 6 months Moorish Connection to Masonry series every first Monday of the month. So so definitely. Then I said I have doing that. Then I said Abundance Child. Abundance Child will be back for the 3rd time. I think December 8th. It's December 15th. December 15th, Abundance Child will be back. The 8th or 15th for the 3rd time.
That's awesome.
And so definitely excited with that. So thank you. Go ahead, brother. Yes, please.
I forgot to say this. My website as well. My website is shemel.com, SHEM-EL.com. Also, you can reach me there as well. So I wanted to plug that in. And again, thank you, brother Abdullah Bey, for having me again.
Absolutely. You can give your number. You gave your number. Can I text you? Yes, you can. You can text me. Once again, that's 215-300-5471. Yes, please text me. All right. Thank you. All right. So till next week, once again, I have brother Elkanan next week. He's my Masonic liaison. He and I been rocking for 7 years. All right. Peace, everyone. Thanks again. Peace.